What's up, Savvy Expats? Today I have a special treat for you all because we are going to be interviewing and having a sit-down conversation with my man Brandon. It's a pleasure to have you on, man.
Thank you.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me.
So let's get into a quick introduction about your life and what brought you to the Philippines. Let's start with a question of where are you from?
Okay, so originally I was born in San Francisco,
Okay.
and I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin when I was 6, so very young, and grew up in the Midwest. And yeah, pretty normal upbringing. Two older brothers, and yeah, just grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and also just to give you guys a backstory of how I met Brandon, we were in touch on social media for a bit. He was watching the channel, and we ran into each other at Starbucks in
Starbucks.
Makati.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, that was fun.
unplanned. It was very spontaneous to see you there. So you grew up in Milwaukee,
Yeah.
and how long were you living there before you moved here to the Philippines?
I was living there for 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah, yeah. And then the year before I moved to the Philippines, though, I was living in LA,
In LA.
Los Angeles. Yeah.
Got it, got it. And to get a little bit more of a backstory, are you part Filipino, part
Yeah, my mom's
Yeah.
Filipino from Manila, and
Okay.
my dad, white, from California.
from California? And so that's what brought you to the Philippines, is your roots?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
see. I see.
Um,
And what do you do for work?
I went to school for marketing, and then throughout that process of going to college and trying to figure out what I really want to do, got into video work, and then started a video marketing company with my brother. And I was doing all the creative work and just scheduling shoots, filming, and editing. And then I really found a love for doing the whole creative process of filmmaking. And so I continued that journey, and kind of got bored with all the corporate work, so I started doing
Got it.
freelance work with companies that aligned with me. Fast forward a few years of doing that, I started my own clothing company, and 2 summers ago, and that went really well for like the first like opening I had at a gallery. It sold out.
Wow.
And then the first online sale went good, and then the company that I ended up working with in LA saw what I was doing, and they liked my work, so they gave me the opportunity to come out to Los Angeles and be the visual director there. So I was helping all the video work and with them for the past year. And then they're actually from Milwaukee, all the kids that started that brand. And actually at the end of the year, moved everything back to Milwaukee, opened up a flagship store in downtown Milwaukee. And as I was helping them open the store, moving back to Milwaukee, coming from downtown LA, I had time to like reflect
Right.
and really think about what I wanted to do with my life, and where I wanted to take my career. And I knew I really wanted to travel, and I knew I really wanted to get back to like the vision I had with the brand I started. So I started looking up like solo traveling videos and getting inspired, and then just made the decision to start traveling, and then trying to figure out the whole digital nomad thing.
Right.
And because I know as long as I have a laptop and working internet, that I can make money anywhere I go. So now I'm doing like freelance video
it.
editing work. Yeah.
Man, that's so great to hear. And actually, one of the main things that fascinated me about you is that you're a young guy, digital nomad, and you're out, traveling the world already. And one of the first places that you told me you went to, other than going down to Tampa, but outside of the country, was Thailand.
Yeah.
And I really want to ask you and dial down on, because a lot of expats, they really want to know the difference between Thailand and the Philippines. For you, what did you like more? What were the differences between living in Thailand versus the Philippines?
Yeah, so Thailand, my experience there was like very different than here, just because the location I went to there was called Koh Chang, and it's a smaller island off the mainland, so it wasn't Bangkok or anything like that. And I spent about a month and a half there, and it was very beautiful. Every day was just waking up on a beach and just going along the coast, exploring. I rented a moped for the month, so.
Wow.
It was very beautiful there, and even being on like a secluded island, there was many spots where I had Wi-Fi, like all the cafes and the Airbnb I was staying at. So I had access to internet like everywhere I went, and the work balance out there was really nice because I wasn't like chilling too much. I was still making myself accountable to
Right.
get work done, and also enjoy the island life out there. But I'd say compared to here, because I did end up going to Bangkok for the last week I was in Thailand, I was really just like content heavy that last week. So very similar vibes to here though,
Okay.
especially in Bangkok,
Yeah.
being like the city life
Right.
and being in where I'm staying at in Makati is kind of more um, like the city vibe. So I'd say
Yeah.
very similar, and even with like the pricing of things, like really similar, because I didn't know what to
Oh,
really
no kidding.
expect.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So even in Bangkok or even in Thailand, the island life there, it's similar to the cost of living here in Makati.
I'd say the cost of living in the island is definitely cheaper. But when I go to like the more province areas
Right.
like around here, it's very similar the pricing.
For
But
sure.
obviously when you go into more of like the city and like built up life, it's a little more pricey. But
Yeah, because the common thing I get is like when an expat or someone from the West is leaving their country, they're typically debating between two Southeast Asian countries, and that's the Philippines or Thailand.
yeah,
The big deal breaker for them is that the Philippines is an English-speaking country, so the language barrier isn't there.
yeah.
But as far as cost of living, would you say that Thailand is cheaper than the Philippines?
Yeah, from my experience, just being like on that
Yeah.
island for sure. But I mean, I plan to go to the islands out here, like Boracay and Palawan, and definitely looking forward to like experiencing that
Got it.
the price difference
Got
there.
it. And so you were in Thailand for 2 months, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
And then you came here to the Philippines?
yeah. I've been here for about a month now, and
Okay, okay, got
yeah,
it.
extended my visa the other day for another month, and just taking it like month by month. So after this month, I'll decide whether like I extend another month or 6 months. We'll
Got
see.
it, got it.
Yeah.
And so you've been in the Philippines for a month now, and you've been living where?
In Makati, in Ayala Mall Circuit. So
Okay.
it's very like how BGC is like a
Yeah.
bubble. It's very much so like an even smaller bubble because
Yeah.
go down from the condo and there's just a huge mall there full of like all the shops you need, all the restaurants you need,
Yeah, yeah.
and so like the first few days here was very. I was like sticking to that, and then I would slowly like venture out, and yeah, it was definitely wild because you keep walking down the street and you just end up in like the province, and like it's very like a very strong contrast with
Yeah.
the way of living.
And by the province, you mean like, to be frank, like impoverished areas,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what BGC is exactly like too.
Yeah.
I think the two biggest bubbles, which is not a surprise to me that these are the two places I talk most about in the Philippines, is both BGC and Makati.
Yeah.
Because the reason I like to talk about it is because it's a great place to settle down in so that you can get used to the Philippines, even as a home base before you go out to the province.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about it earlier. You went out to the province recently. How does that contrast to, what you're used to in Makati?
I mean, everything you see for sure, like just kids out like barefoot. And I mean, I saw like the other day coming back home, just like a family taking like a shower like on the street with the water available, just
really?
like from the
From a
yeah,
bucket?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tabo, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And it's definitely eye opening, and definitely opens up your mind to like the I guess the inconvenient truths of the world, I guess, and it definitely, yeah, because like being an empathetic person, like you definitely get affected by that, but
For sure.
there's definitely a lot to take from it. Like you're grateful for everything you have, and definitely just want to do more for like the world, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to your lifestyle in Makati, can you give us like a general breakdown of what your expenses look like living there?
Fortunate enough for the past month to be living at my aunt's condo, which she allowed me to stay at, and so my expenses haven't been too crazy. Besides, obviously, the food and my transportation. But I mean, the past month has been like under 700, and
No
that's
way.
before like
Yeah.
I mean, even if I included like a rental price there, which I like made a budget for myself for when like if I do move here, and it's definitely like within the budget of even if I had a rental. So
Right.
because I'm aiming towards like 2,000
Yeah.
like a month with like everything included. So
Right.
it's definitely in that. And I've been like eating out a lot and like taking Grab a lot because I didn't know all all the routes that the jeepneys were taking or like go or anything. But I've been taking them recently, and it's been an interesting experience.
Oh, you've taken a jeepney
Yeah,
already?
yeah.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
because like I was like, why not? And
Yeah.
it's so much cheaper, and like I met a lot of cool people just by doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you'd say that you can live in Makati, one of the more pricey cities, under 2,000 a month,
Oh yeah, for sure.
with rent included.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've met actually people who live in BGC on 1,500 a month.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of a shocker to me as well, because when you think about the most expensive city in the Philippines, like it's very modernized and westernized. It's a bubble, right?
Yeah.
And you think you'd have to spend more, but actually, based off your own lifestyle, you can live on pretty much almost whatever amount you really please, as long as it's reasonably above 1,000.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I like I'm very minimal when it comes to like things I spend excessively. Like I just need like good amount of food. Like, and I learned how to budget a lot when I was living in Los Angeles. So
Yeah,
like
you
pretty
kind of
much
have
bare
to.
minimum. Yeah, with the food, and then
Yeah.
I mean the rest of the cost of living is just cheaper out here in general. So it's pretty easy.
And going back to your lifestyle as a digital nomad, because that's very interesting to me. Living in Thailand versus living in the Philippines, what would you say is the more ideal environment for work?
Honestly, for what I'm looking forward to doing, I'd say the Philippines, because in Thailand, but this is also taking into account, I was staying on like the island, but
Got it.
here in Makati and in BGC, there's a lot of other business opportunities other than just the digital nomad work. So definitely a lot of opportunities to work with other businesses here and yeah, just other creatives. But also the internet, like for me, personally, my experience has been like pretty hard to find spots with like free Wi-Fi that's like all day,
Yeah.
because I've been dealing with like I'll get like an hour at
Yeah,
a mall and
yeah,
then an
yeah.
hour over here. So I've been editing most of the time at like the condo. So yeah.
And that's tough because especially as like someone who works online,
Yeah.
staying specifically and only in the condo in
Yeah,
your house, it just gets
tough.
it gets monotonous, it gets boring. So you want to go out to like a cafe or a coffee shop, but I found that's a big problem here in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Like you just
surprised me.
don't find free Wi-Fi often.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, how is it? Like you can find free Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. So
Anywhere?
that was a big bonus over
No
there.
kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I talked to a lot of like the followers of the channel, and they would want free Wi-Fi because they're going to be working online, whatever gig or
exactly.
side hustle they have, and I think that's a great point. Philippines, it's rare to find that free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was
Like
surprised. Even the Starbucks or anything.
even
like that.
Starbucks, yeah, you get like a 1 hour limit,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to register your phone number to get it, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. Like some people, they opt for a pocket Wi-Fi so that they can go out and
Yeah.
have a portable Wi-Fi with them. But yeah, it's kind of inconvenient. So that's why we're not gonna tell them about our spot right now, because
Oh,
that's the only
yeah.
place with free
Oh, that
Wi-Fi.
spot's fire.
Yeah, we can't tell you
It's
guys.
a new spot.
New spot. Okay, it's a Shangri-La BGC, the lounge, best coffee here.
We'll see you.
Yeah. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about your transition from the U.S. to the Philippines. Was there any particular reason that you left the U.S. for the Philippines at a pretty early age?
Yeah, so for me, I was just kind of getting over like the US and everything that's going on over there. And it's like kind of a world problem that we're all dealing with, but it's like, especially in the US, that's like, for me, it's like the value differences and just how divisive everything is getting. And it just keeps getting worse every year. And especially being from, like born in San Francisco, so I visit there a lot.
Yeah.
And seeing it just like, just get so bad like over the years, and like there's really no change going on. And even like you're from Chicago, and like you know
Yeah.
how bad it is there, and
sure.
Milwaukee's very similar to like the how like bad it gets.
Yeah.
And yeah, just seeing that, and then just knowing the cost of living differences, and knowing that I'm able to make money online, it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And so I've always wanted to try it out. And then when I took time to reflect, like after the year in LA, I was like, just with the mindset of like, if not now, then when? And I just went for it. And yeah, it's been great.
I love that, because a lot of us, we tend to contemplate, because it's a big decision moving to the Philippines. Should we do it? But then, like you said, it was a no-brainer for you.
Yeah.
The high cost of living paired with the crime rates, the lack of change, Would you say, and we don't have to get too far into it, but like, would you say it's the political, like the policies of San Francisco, of California that was
Oh yeah, for
bothering
sure.
you?
I mean,
Yeah.
like that, it just doesn't really make sense over there. And like living in, because I never like got too into politics or like even like, I kind of like just stay away from all that because
Right.
like nothing really changes ever. It's
Exactly.
all like corrupt and controlled. But living in LA the past year, I lived in downtown LA, like the heart of the fashion district. So it was like so chaotic every day. And I lived in an apartment. Across the street was my studio. So it was very back and forth. And even just that street alone, Santee Street, is like, it was just always chaos going on. And if I like
Really?
walk to Whole Foods, it's insane what you see. And it was like pretty
Really?
close to not Tenderloin, that's San Francisco, but it's like the worst street in LA
Yeah.
with the homeless. Like it's like the tent city,
Ah, okay.
and yeah, it's just like going to some meetings and driving past that is just insane. What
Right.
you see, yeah.
Right, and
and
if-
nothing like changes with it.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like when a lot of us, especially like Filipino friends of mine, when they think about where they want to move, like, oh, where do you want to move? They're like, California.
Yeah.
Like, you really want to move to California?
It looks so beautiful because they
does.
spend all that money like
Right.
marketing and like, I mean that's where Hollywood is. Like that's like they're the kings of marketing, of
Right.
making things look beautiful even when it's like not at all.
And
So,
they
yeah.
don't see like the reality of what you've seen actually living in California.
Yeah.
So, you know, you were living this kind of lifestyle where I don't want to say you feared going out, but it's definitely an adventure just to go outside of your condo and go to
Yeah.
a Whole Foods.
Yep.
What was your cost of living when you were there in California?
Thank God I wasn't I wasn't like living alone or like paying too much for the
Right.
rent. But
Yeah.
dude, the apartment I was at, I was kind of like just couch surfing for the time being, and with my homie, and dude, the apartment, it was $3,000 for a studio apartment. So like just taking that cost, that's like without anything else, like
A
taking
studio.
taking that cost alone
My God.
and comparing it to anything here is like, it's just insane to even like think that anyone would like pay that, especially
Wow.
with the stuff that goes around there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I've talked about in a past video, I said that the cost of living in Manila is far pricier than in the province here, and that I honestly believe the real estate in Manila is kind of overpriced. But even for 3,000 a month, you can get a great condo here in Manila.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's insane. And then couple that with barely even feeling safe enough to walk outside.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
when
worth it.
when the sun sets, like it got dicey out there. Like I would I would be like, damn, I need to get some food. Like like I would. So
I just want to
go on an
eat.
adventure, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, and it's so interesting because I always hear the same things about like specifically California. I know Chicago is bad. I know New York is bad, but I'd say even like 6-7 years ago, California was not this bad at
Just-
all.
yeah.
And it only happened within the recent 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Even San Francisco, like I said, like I would visit there like a lot of the years growing up, and like every year it would just keep getting worse and worse. And the last time I was there, it was I think like a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and it was just like insane what we would see. Like I would walk with me and my brother would walk around, and we stayed in a hotel like in downtown San Francisco. So we would walk and just see like the open drug use, cops walking by, people
No way.
like using drugs and just walking by, and like
Yeah.
we would witness like just the insanity that goes on.
Wow.
And even I went to Seattle like 3 years ago to shoot a music video, and spent like a week out there, and it's just as bad out there, and
Oh,
with like the
really?
open drug use and everything. Yeah, so it was very intense. Yeah.
I heard you kind of talk a little bit about like the values that differ between living in California versus the Philippines. I wanted to ask, like, for you, how do these values differ? What's the contrast between the values in the West versus the Philippines in your experience?
Definitely like spending a lot of time meeting family out here, and even meeting new friends out here, and getting to know like their values and beliefs. It's very evident that the values are more like family oriented and like friends, and definitely enjoying the simple and small things in life, and like not taking anything for granted. versus the U.S. Like a lot of people are born and raised into like kind of conditioned into a way of thinking of like very selfishly and like very like for themselves about
Right.
like status and like money and definitely like family. A lot of families in the U.S. are just not. They don't have like that strong family dynamic,
Yeah.
and it's very clear. Even when I was in Thailand, to see that.
Right.
Um,
Oh, even
the
in
value.
Thailand, the
Yeah, yeah,
same.
yeah.
Got it. That's
Like
interesting.
Thailand is similar to the Philippines.
In the like the
Yeah, yeah.
Philippines, yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's always been an observation that I found in the Philippines versus the U.S. is that in American culture, right? And I don't know if you can testify, but like, it's normal for parents to say, "Okay, you're 18, you're kicked out,
Kicked
or
out, yeah.
leave, go work." That's very normal. But here in the Philippines, you'll find people still living with their parents until marriage, even if
Yeah.
it's still their late 20s. In the West, that's very looked down upon.
Yeah.
But here in the Philippines, we're just such a family-oriented type of culture, and that I've only just adjusted to now, that I actually find it beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, no, same. And yeah, in the US it's very like looked down upon and like it's like, what are you doing still living with blah blah?
Yeah.
And it's very much like that, but I've related to a lot of like fellow like people in America that have like Asian families and or Asian parents and they have the same values that they brought to America. And I feel like those used to be like the American values where like the family sticks together, helps
Right.
each other and supports each other, but I feel like as the years have gone by, like it's like broken that dynamic as a because it used to be like a part of the American culture, and I feel like now there's no real like culture and like strong values in America.
Yeah.
It's very just like free for all.
Exactly. And it's like, all right, when you're 18, you go out and you work, but then the parents, they kind of sometimes, and I'm coming from a young perspective, right? And we're both, early in an early age. Parents, they kick the kids out at 18. You go work, and provide a life for yourself.
Yeah.
But then once the parents get to an age where like they're 60s and they need help and they need care,
Yeah.
they also want their children to be conditioned to still love them and to
Yeah, yeah.
want to help them and whatnot. But then at the same time, they've kind of distanced the child to go out and work.
Yeah,
And
doesn't make sense.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. But anyways, yeah, what I like about the Philippines also is that it's in the culture to be okay with living with your parents at a later age, but still go out and work, so that you
Oh,
still
yeah.
have like a safe place to come back home, be connected with your family, but still attend to adult priorities.
Yeah.
And yeah, the West, we've lost that kind of dynamic of wanting to still connect with your loved ones. And yeah, it
Yeah, I
definitely
think
changed.
because it's like a team dynamic, and it's like we got each other's back. We'll push each other,
Yeah.
and like I feel like that's so important, especially in today's like day and age, especially in America with the cost of living just keeps going up, and it's like if you're gonna kick a kid out at a young age and try to make them figure it out, like it's hard nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a lot of pressure and not healthy.
Absolutely, I totally agree.